The dam is still standing. More than 60 years later, it is still there. But the town below it, well, that was almost earthed in a single night. And yeah, I know, that sounds backwards. When we hear the word dam disaster, we imagine a giant wall breaking apart and water bursting through it. But this wall did not break. The mountain did. And here is the really disturbing part. The mountain had been warning them for years. This is failure at last. And this is the story of the Vajont Dam disaster. Okay, picture a deep valley in the mountains of northern Italy. The gap between the cliffs is so narrow that engineers look at it and think, oh, this is perfect. Build one wall here, hold back the water and create electricity for thousands of homes. So that is exactly what they did. And honestly, the dam was incredible. It was a thin, curved wall of concrete about 276 meters tall. It looked almost impossible to defeat. And strangely enough, it was. The real danger was not the dam. It was the mountain touching the water beside it, Monte Toc. From the outside, it looked solid. But deep inside was an old wound, a huge piece of mountain that may have already slid once, long ago. And when the reservoir began filling with water, that piece slowly started waking up. In 1959, a young geologist named Edward Menza studied the slope. He found signs of that ancient landslide. And he warned that filling the reservoir could make it move again. Some experts disagreed. They believed the mountain would settle and lock itself in place. Then the water rose and the mountain moved. In October 1960, a huge crack opened across the slope. It was about 1 meter wide and 2.5 kilometers long. Like, imagine standing there and seeing the mountain split open in front of you. And then 1 month later, part of the slope crashed into the reservoir. The impact created waves around 30 meters high. 30 meters! At this point, the mountain had basically performed a rehearsal. It had shown them exactly what it could do, just on a smaller scale. So the operators lowered the water, and the movement slowed down. Okay, good. That made it feel like they had found the answer. If the mountain moved too quickly, they could simply lower the lake and calm it down. But think about that for a second. It is like discovering that the brakes on your car only work sometimes, and then deciding to keep driving just more carefully. You survive one turn, then another, and slowly the danger begins to feel normal. The company added instruments. They watched the slope. They even built a tunnel in case a landslide blocked the reservoir. So they were not ignoring the mountain. That is what makes this story so uncomfortable. They knew it could move. They just believed they could manage it. In 1963, the reservoir was filled again. By September, the mountain was moving about 1 centimeter every day, then 2 centimeters, then 4. The operators began lowering the water. But this time, the mountain did not slow down. It moved faster. By October 9th, parts of the slope were moving as much as 20 centimeters per day. 20 centimeters in 1 day. This was no longer a warning about something that might happen one day. It was happening. And below the dam, people in the town of Longarone were living an ordinary evening. They had a giant concrete wall between them and the water. They probably felt protected, but the wall was never the real danger. At 10:39 that night, the mountain let go. Around 270 million cubic meters of rock began moving at once. An entire section of the mountain, about 2 kilometers wide, rushed toward the reservoir. And this was not a slow landslide. It reached an estimated speed of 20 to 30 meters every second. The whole thing was over in less than 45 seconds. The rock hit the reservoir, the water had nowhere to go. So it exploded upward, climbed the opposite side of the valley and rushed more than 100 meters above the top of the dam. Then it poured over the wall and raced through the narrow gorge toward the Longarone. The people below had almost no time. Buildings disappeared, roads disappeared, entire families disappeared. By morning, 1,917 people were dead. 400 of them were never found. And behind all of that destruction, the dam was still standing. So, was Vajont really a dam failure? Well, technically, the concrete wall survived. But honestly, that feels like the wrong answer. The job of the whole system was to control water safely, not just to keep one wall standing. And the system failed. The mountain moved. The instruments measured it. A smaller landslide had already created a huge wave. But because they had slowed the mountain before, they believed they could do it again. The warnings never disappeared. They simply became familiar. And maybe that is the most dangerous kind of warning. Not the one nobody sees, but the one everyone sees so many times that they stop being afraid of it. The dam survived. The system around it did not. And 1,917 people paid the price. And honestly, if stories like this make you want to look a little deeper, stick around. There are plenty more failures hiding behind things that look completely safe. Subscribe to Failure Atlas, and if there is a story you think belongs on this channel, tell me about it below. Maybe we will investigate that one next. Thank you for watching and see you in the next story.